Hi friends, I'm LJ Jarvis from the Warhammer podcast. If any of you keep up with the Warhammer hobby, then maybe you've played a few games based off the tabletop. From the mobile to the console, from games like Fire Warrior to the Dawn of War games, almost anyone within this hobby would have played a game or two. For me personally, I played Space Marine, and it was this game that got me into the hobby in general, as explained in an earlier episode. In Space Marine, you play as Captain Titus, a Space Marine captain of the Ultramarines chapter, who leads his fellow Marines to secure the Titans from the Orc war boss, Grimskull, on the Forge world of Graya. Throughout the game, Captain Titus and his squad finds and rescues Inquisitor Drogon, after learning about a secret weapon that might turn the tides against the Orc invasion. However, it would reveal that Drogon was under the possession of a Chaos Demon, and would open a gateway into the Warp, and allow the Chaos Sorcerer, Nemroth, to invade the Forge world. But near the end of the game, Captain Titus would slay both the Orc war boss and Chaos Sorcerer, but his victory would be short-lived, as he would be arrested by the Inquisition under the suspicion of heresy, for surviving against the powers of the Warp under such exposure. Ideally, we're meant to get 2 more games, where Titus is slowly striving himself further from the doctrines of the Ultramarines and become a rogue Marine, and by the 3rd game, would create a Space Marine chapter of his own with Marines who remained loyal to him. Though the games were plotted, the unfortunate sale of Space Marine couldn't support the creation of the next 2 games, while THQ's bankruptcy being the final nail in the coffin for the sequels. However, I believe that the sequels will eventually be made, sort of like how Dawn of War 3 eventually saw the light of day thanks to Sega. If we were to get Space Marine 2, here's a small wish list about what I would like to see for the next game. For the story, maybe the game can take place during Titus's trial, where the Inquisition is judging him on the suspicion of heresy. Titus would try to defend himself, but by the end, his words will fall on deaf ears, and he would be labeled as a heretic. At this point, Titus is allowed to strip himself from the ranks of the Ultramarines and join the Death Watch as a Black Shield, and go on a mission to combat against the threat of Xenos, where the story will take place. However, during the mission, Titus' teammates are soon caught in battle between Chaos, which will push Titus further away from the Imperium and forced to become a rogue Marine. For the gameplay, it can stay the same as the first game, but with a few changes, of course. Maybe during the executions, maybe this time the enemies aren't able to hurt you, and while the executions can provide health, maybe it can provide small pockets of ammunition as well. And speaking of which, maybe we can have more weapons to carry, instead of just 4 from the first game, not including the close combat weapon. Maybe we can use weapons such as flammers, or maybe even able to drive vehicles like Predators or Storm Talons. As for enemies, it can depend where the game takes place. If it's on a craft world, maybe we can have the Marines fight against different flavors of Eldari. Or if it takes place in the eastern fringe of the galaxy, maybe we can have enemies such as Tau or Tyranids. If Chaos ever returns, maybe we can also have different spectrums of Chaos Demons from the 4 ruinous powers, like Plague Bearers or Pink Horrors, maybe even some different Chaos-based Marines from Traitor Chapters and Legions. Maybe the game can connect with the Gathering Storm story as well, which will give Titus the opportunity to turn rogue during the fall of Cadia at the hands of Abaddon. But these are my ideas. What do you guys think? Will we ever get the sequels to such a great game, or do you think they'll never see the light of day? And if you have any ideas for the sequel, what are they? Let me know in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I'll see you again soon.